Well, what a night of AEW Dynamite wrestling we saw. And I got to tell you, last night's July 7th edition was probably one of the greatest episodes they have made since the beginning. It is why I have become more intensely of a pro wrestling fan than I ever have. And I got to tell you, one of the biggest shockers of the night came from last night's episode. So if you haven't seen it yet, I would either watch it and stop it now before I give you some big details. But as you saw in the title of this video, this edition of the Corner Ropes, we are going to be talking about the newest addition to AEW. And it might shock you because there's a lot to this. And we're going to get to it. But first, let's go through last night's little review of the show. So last night it starts off with the South Beach strap match featuring Cody Rhodes with the Enforcer Arn Anderson versus QT Marshall with the Factory's Aaron Solo and Nick Camarado alongside on his corner. And I got to tell you, it was a great match, but at one point, the lights went out just ever so briefly, and they claimed it was because of the weather. Okay. First of all, if the weather was that bad, they wouldn't be there. I don't think. But there's been other times. I remember there was a time that I think it was on a pay-per-view or it was an actual Raw show. The lights went out and everything, the power went kaboo for just a little bit. And but that wasn't a work. This, however, was because later on in the night, the lights would go out again. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But anyways, last night the match was great. And I got to tell you, it was one of those old-fashioned strap matches that you would expect to watch back in the early days. And they both delivered, and of course, Cody Rhodes came off with the victory. Then came the Shawn Spears with having his interview earlier in the night, and Sammy Guevara came out and attacked him in the back, and that was pretty interesting. Great little storyline that's going on with them in the Pinnacle, which later on there would be more to that story between those two sides. And then Tony Schiavone, my hero, I guess you would say, from back in the days of watching him on WCW Monday Nitro, had an in-ring interview with the world champion Kenny Omega. And basically, Evil Uno comes out. The fans start chanting Hangman because they want to see, along with Evil Uno and the rest of the guys in the Dark Order, Hangman Adam Page take on Kenny Omega for that incredibly awesome title of the AEW Championship. And so Hangman comes out, confronts his once friend Kenny Omega, and Kenny runs away like a little coward. It was pretty good. And then Jim Ross has a sit-down interview from earlier in the day with All Ego Ethan Page and Darby Allin. That was pretty good. Then it came to the six-man tag match with the Inner Circle's Jack Hager, Ortiz, and Santana with Conan versus the Pinnacle's Cash Wheeler, Dax Harwood, and Wardlow with Tully Blanchard in their corner. And I got to tell you, that was a pretty cool match. And anytime you see Conan and all that, it's always good. But that was a great match. Great match. And I think the Pinnacle came out with the victory on that. Let's see. Then there was Carl Anderson talking about how he's going to win the IWGP US Championship from Jon Moxley next week. And then it was time for the standoff between MJF and Chris Jericho. And before this, right while Chris Jericho's music was playing, a fan apparently tried to get in the ring. Security and Justin Roberts pulled the guy off the stage, and that wasn't before Chris Jericho gets a good licking to the guy's face, and then that gets carried on with their little feud. After that came another in-ring. This is another interview, not in the ring. It was a taped interview with Tony Schiavone with the AEW Women's Champion, which is Dr. Britt Baker. And she was talking about some stuff going on as far as the Fyter Fest and all that stuff. Then came the big debut of Andrade versus Matt Sydal. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of critics who are saying that it wasn't that exciting for the fans. But for me, I thought it was awesome. I thought he did a great job. I thought that what he displayed in the ring is what we've been wanting to see from him when he was in the WWE. And now this is a prime example, another prime example of another superstar that has come to AEW and has shown exactly the type of superstar, pro wrestler that they can be. And I'm so excited to see what comes next for Andrade in AEW. And the more I watch, the more I get excited. Next came the big announced match, Matt Hardy versus Christian Cage. Tony Schiavone interviewed the Enforcer in the ring, and this is where the biggest surprise of the night happened. Now, as the Enforcer took the mic from Tony Schiavone, Arn started to talk about how he was excited about what has happened with his son and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, the lights go out again, but this time for a little bit longer. And as the lights came back on, what did we see? We see former WWE superstar Aleister Black, a.k.a. Tommy End, in the ring. And this is what we heard from inside the ring. And so last night we saw the surprising debut of what they are now calling Malakai Black, formerly Aleister Black of the WWE, is now in AEW. And as this happened, I was going crazy, going, yes, this is great. Yes, this is awesome. Yes, this is what I've wanted to see. And it happened. And wow, that is going to be one big fight if it happens between Malakai Black and Cody Rhodes. I got to tell you, it is going to be so amazing. And I'm stoked. Now, this is the story about all this. We're going to pull aside from the AEW review and give you some information, because there are reports that are saying that there's a lot of people, including me, going, well, wasn't there a 90-day no compete clause to his contract with the WWE? And the answer is there should have been. But there was a screw up, a big, massive screw up inside the offices of the WWE. What happened? I'm going to tell you. Apparently, I didn't know this, but all NXT superstars have a 30-day no-compete clause in their contracts. Now, when you go to the Raw and SmackDown side, your contracts go from a 30-day non-compete to a 90-day no-compete clause. Now, in this case, when Aleister got bumped up from NXT to the main roster, someone missed that small little detail. And because of that, he only had a 30-day non-compete clause that he had to go by. Another big miss from the WWE. And I got to tell you, I'm not surprised. And I don't know if you're surprised, but I'm not. They continue to make big mistakes. They continue to drop the ball. And we'll get into this after my review. Now, going back, this is amazing because it's another talent that has gone from the WWE to AEW. And now it is another reason why AEW is going to have more ability of putting on better shows. It is going to give AEW more chances to sell more tickets, to get maybe even into bigger venues, because they are going to have the talent that WWE does not. And the thing is what's going to happen when they get rid of all their talent? What's going to happen when there's going to be no one left to work for them that are going to put seats in these venues, that are going to put people in those seats to watch and enjoy and give them the income they need to keep their business going strong? And quite frankly, what they have for a product right now just isn't there. AEW does have that talent. AEW has that ability of being that company that can get out there and dominate, because they have the ability to be themselves. They have the ability of just enjoying what they do. Because like I said on a prior Corner Ropes, they're not happy in WWE. And you can tell by the way that they perform. It's just not there. But when you watch Impact, when you watch AEW, you can see a difference. You can see that they're happy. You can see that they are just enjoying what they're doing. It's awesome. And I'm excited to see what is going to happen now with Malakai Black. It's going to be awesome. Now, getting back to the review. Then there was a mixed tag match between Chris Stadler and freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy versus the Bunny and the Blade. Great match. And I just think that the Bunny and the Blade, they're a married couple. They're a great team. They come off with a victory, and it's awesome. It's a good storyline. I like Orange Cassidy. I like what they're doing with him. And Chris Stadler, she's just, each week, I like watching what she does. She's a great talent. I would like to see her with the women's title on her. It would be awesome. Then it came to Tony Schiavone's interview with Dan Lambert from the American Top Team. He was seen on Impact Wrestling, did some stuff with them. Obviously, he's gotten his butt kicked before, and same thing happened last night. Lance Archer came out and just laid him out. It was great. I loved it. And then the main event for the night was the big street fight, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I honestly thought that there was going to be a title change. There wasn't. It was the Young Bucks versus Eddie Kingston and Penta. And I got to tell you, it was hardcore to the max. And there was times where I thought that the Young Bucks were going to get killed, especially when there was this huge table breaking that happened outside the ring. And it was great. It was awesome. Out of 5 stars, I would probably give this one a 4.5 because it was great. It was awesome. Why does it not get a 5-star? Honestly, I think the best is yet to come. And to give 5 stars now would be a little bit crazy. I mean, look at it this way. We're still in the baby stages of AEW being a company. They're still getting their feet wet. And they are progressing. They're growing. And what they're doing as a company is just amazing. And I don't see any other company doing what AEW is doing anytime soon. Why? It's because Tony cares. Tony has the people working around him that he can trust and know that they can put a show together that can give the fans what they want to see, but also satisfy the fan. That when they go home or when they turn off their TV after that show, they're pumped. They're ready to invest. They want to see more of Being the Elite. They want to see more of Sammy's channel on YouTube. They want to buy the merchandise. They want to buy the tickets to a show that's close by. The thing is, the WWE doesn't give the fans that right now with Raw or SmackDown. And that's why they are going to fail. You know, we talk about how WCW crumbled and how they made bad choices, and because of those bad choices, they fell apart. They didn't succeed. And because of that, they got bought out. They don't exist anymore. And the thing is I honestly think that what we're seeing now from the WWE is the start of the foundation crumbling. That empire has reigned for far too long, and now it's time for another company to come and give the fans what they need. And, you know, I don't think it's the intentions of AEW to make the WWE go under. I think competition is great. But I think if the WWE does go under, it's because of their own fault. They have chose to take this route. And by the way, they are getting rid of talent, the big names that generate the views that make people want to watch. That's only hurting them. And they seem to be looking for younger talent. But you know what? Sometimes you need that older talent. Sometimes you need those Aleister Black. Sometimes you need those guys that are going to give the fans what they need. And right now, they're not doing it. And last night, it was awesome. It was great to see AEW do something that shocked the fans for multiple various reasons. And I think we're in for some more big surprises here as they start to travel again and go from there. But for now, that's all I got for you. I wanted to get on here and talk about the big news about Tommy End and his new journey as it starts in AEW as Malakai Black. And I think that the way he looked last night with what looked like bruising on his face and the way that he just simply took out Arn Anderson and Cody Rhodes was a huge statement, not just for the fans, but for the guys in the locker room, because I think he's going to be a big threat. You know, I think him holding the TNT Championship is a very big possibility, but seeing him as the AEW champion would be even bigger, and I think that's going to happen. I really do. It may not be this year. It may be later on, but if it happens, it wouldn't surprise me. I think that it would be a huge thing. I think it would be even bigger than Jon Moxley being the champion or Chris Jericho being the champion. I just think that him having the belt would be something that would help the company grow even more. And I think him being in the company now is going to bring in more fans, because there's a lot of people who were very upset by the way he was treated in WWE. There was a lot of fans that wanted to see him become more popular, have more championship opportunities, and he never got it. But I think this is the place where he can get those opportunities and be the pro wrestler that we know he can be. And it's going to be awesome. Share your thoughts on this and all the other things we talked about from last night's AEW Dynamite, as this is probably going to be one for the books. As next week we get into Fyter Fest Night 1 in Austin, and it's going to be a pretty good show. I can tell you that. If this show was this good, this next show is probably going to be 10 times better. So let's see what happens. Until next time, you guys always remember to think and be positive. Do what you can, not what you can't. And I believe in you. Don't you think you should too? And if you see someone who served our country, give them an elbow or a fist bump. Tell them how much you appreciate them. You never know how much they might appreciate that one random act of kindness. So do that today. And remember to be safe, but most importantly, God bless.